Hey guys, it's me Dax. So quick one. I'm always being asked what are my favorite and I guess most connected books around coaching, around becoming a really top-notch coach. And as you can see, like I take my study seriously. Like literally I've got floor-to-ceiling books all around me, kind of in every space of my man cave over here, ranging on everything from the actual neuroscience of coaching to the practicalities of coaching to how to sell coaching and everything in between. I'm a complete geek and I read a lot of books. So I've got, my library is worth like tens of thousands of pounds and my Kindle's got like about 600-700 books on it. I am a voracious reader, a voracious studier. So I've covered pretty much most of the books that most people will have read around the areas of coaching. And I can honestly say that there are a handful of books above all else that I would put my focus on for any coach who is really trying to establish themselves as a bit top notch. Now, these are a little bit out there in some respects, right? Because they aren't necessarily books about coaching. They're just books that have made me a better coach. And certainly everyone I've recommended them to has become a better coach as a result. And so obviously you can see up on the wall here, we've got, Course in Miracles and stuff like that, right? But which is an absolutely awesome book, which is why it gets a kind of a pride of place and kind of full frontal, if you will. But these have to be without doubt amongst the most important books I've ever read as a coach. And I've got kind of tons and tons of Neil Donald Walsch stuff here. So the Conversations with God series, right? Conversations with God. Now, first off, I don't know what your views on religion are, and maybe kind of having something with the word God in really puts you off, or maybe it really excites you. I don't know. It's very possible as well that kind of, you may have come across books like this before and been turned off by them for sure. Here's the reality about the Conversations with God series and why I believe they're such a powerful course of instruction for coaches. And it's because there's some really delicate topics being conducted or being covered within that book. And yet the way the conversations pan out, you can always see that judgment is always being eradicated, that the communication is always being made clear and explicit. The questions are being asked, and when they're vague from Neil Donald Walsch to God, right? Because that's the theme of this book essentially. Neil Donald Walsch had a bit of a breakdown. He raged at God and said, "Why do you keep doing this to me?" And then the way he describes the story is, one day God answered and he started auto-writing and he wrote God's responses. Now, it doesn't matter whether you believe in the God side of stuff or not, and it doesn't, in many respects, it doesn't matter, if you're a bit more on the religious side and you could get caught up in the whole blasphemy thing and all that, but kind of if you can just let yourself release that and pay attention to the actual lessons that are being given here, the lessons of non-judgment, the lessons of clarity, the lessons of simplicity of both question and answer, and the power that lies within that, and then also the lessons of creating space within the coaching environment. I've got to tell you, these books, the Conversations with God series, I've honestly never met a series of books that have been so impactful on my coaching career, and I believe they will be for you. So if you've not tried them yet, go and grab yourself a copy. You can get them on Kindle. They're not particularly expensive. They've been around for some time now, and certainly, once more, just that admonishment to keep away from, whether you are religious, whether you're not religious, whether you're anti-religious, keep away from anything that you think may have religious connotations, and instead focus on what this book is really about, which is about living a life of non-judgment and peace and tranquility, and basically living life through a set of values that you really, really believe in. Okay, so that's my recommendation for my favorite book for coaching. What's yours? Love to hear. Like put a link to the book in the space below this video. Like tell me what your favorite book is and why. Love to hear. Take care.